Welcome to Pure Talk, a talk show brought to you by pureflix.com, where we discuss faith, culture, entertainment, and plenty more. I'm Billy Hollowell, and I'm here today with Kathy Garver, star of the hit 1960s and 1970s show Family Affair. You might recall that Kathy played beloved character Sissy. Decades later, the show is gaining renewed attention on pureflix.com, so we wanted to sit down and discuss Kathy's career, her life, and more. Welcome, Kathy.
Well, thank you, Billy. I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
So why do you think Family Affair has resonated with so many people? It's sort of a timeless classic over these decades.
It is, and it's playing on one of my favorite stations now, PureFlix, but I think it resonated for a lot of reasons. And it had a lot of firsts. It was one of the first shows in color. It was one of the first shows that dealt with a different kind of family. They would say dysfunctional, but with a family that didn't have the prototypical man and woman,
Sure.
but an uncle who had adopted the kids. And I think that the love that was shown between all the characters and the stories really meant a lot to people. So it touched their emotional being.
Interesting, interesting. And so playing Sissy, what are some of the lessons that you learned as an individual playing that character?
Well, I think Sissy learned a lot from me. You know, you can't
It's the reverse. It's the
Yes,
reverse.
It's true, because you can't be an actor without using your own heart or your own spirit.
Sure.
So that's what I poured into Sissy.
What lessons would you say, coming out of that hit show and having a very successful career after that, what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way?
Well, from the show, there were like moral lessons that were embedded in it. And so they would have Sissy perhaps being irresponsible when she was supposed to be taking care of Buffy and Jody, and she going off to a much more fun place to be in her teenage mind than being with her little brother and sister. So it taught her to be responsible.
Which is important.
Oh, yeah, very.
So after the show ended and you moved into other areas of Hollywood and had a successful career, take me through what life was like after that, because you're sort of in that vortex of having a show and you're on that show for a long time, then you leave that and you move into different projects. So what has life been like since Family Affair?
Well, that's only a couple, 2-3 years, you know. and I have been told to make my answer short.
Our producer is very, very strict on that.
Well,
yes.
I'm only 5'1", so how could I make him any taller or longer? I graduated from UCLA, went back, got a master's in theater arts, went to London to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, then started touring the country in dinner theater plays, then started an animated career, as goes along with my animated life. One of the most well-known characters is Firestar in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, but I've done 5 animated series. I've done lots of plays, and I continue to act and be on TV and theater and movies.
What's your favorite, because that's a lot of plays and stage and TV and movie, like what is your favorite form of entertainment to act in?
Being right here, talking to you
Look
on
at this.
PureFlix, being myself,
This is it. I love
hosting.
it.
I've hosted a lot of things, backstage with Barry and Kathy. I have a star on the Walk of Stars in Palm Springs, and so I interview other celebrities who have had stars on the Walk of Stars. I really like it all. I also teach voiceover, and I tell my students, be skilled in all the different areas. So, you're
Right.
not doing a movie every month. You're not doing, if you do a television series, there's still other things to do. A play lasts for so long. Voiceover is in commercials and animation and industrial. So
Be all in it.
Learn how to do it all and experience
And
it.
then you'll never have a problem finding a job when you can do it
Well,
all.
it
It's
helps.
not as hard. It's not as hard, maybe. It's not as hard.
Yeah, right.
Let me ask you this, and it's more of a serious question about just what happens to so many young people, whether they're young kids or they're teenagers or even their early 20s when they hit fame, and how so many people go down a dark path. How did you avoid that?
Well, it is very difficult, and my third book that I wrote is Ex-Child Stars, Where Are They Now? And I chronicled like the lives of the TV child stars in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Why did they go down this dark path? And so many of them was because of drugs, I was very fortunate never to take drugs, and I had an education, which really helps a lot. I had a very supportive family, and I had a family that did not take all of my earnings and spend them on the whole family and on themselves. I was able to get all of my funds when I was 18.
Wow. Well, those are good parents then. You know you have a good family when they're not willing to sort of take from you.
Yes, and you know, I just finished this, recording this audiobook called The Complete Guide to Jesus' Prayers. And in it, there were many things that I took away, but one was modeling. And kids learn from who they see and from their family. So if you were modeling a good type to your children, and you're not taking drugs or you're being responsible, that's how the kids are going to learn.
Sure, right, yeah, by seeing it. Because we can say it all day, but if you're not living it out, right?
You're exactly
Practice
right,
what you preach.
Right.
So when you look at Hollywood now, because you've been in Hollywood a long time, and you look at Hollywood then, there have always been moral issues. Content is sort of an interesting thing because content has changed a bit. What do you think when you kind of look at primetime TV and what goes on there and just the content of what Hollywood is putting out?
Well, you're right. I have been in this for a long time. My first movie was The Ten Commandments, not the silent version. And of course, that had a very moral compass. Now I look at TV and I said, are you really kidding? I mean, people are so mean, insulting, violent. And I really don't think that people are like that. I don't think you have to superimpose that kind of violence and meanness to make it dramatic. There are many ways that life presents itself as dramatic unto itself without overlaying it with a lot of bad language and killing or knifing somebody. We don't need that, and that's why I am so glad that PureFlix has emerged, and with God's Not Dead, 1 and 2 and 3, and now it has the wonderful network where they embrace. I go to tons and tons of autograph conventions and with my candy bars, Sissy candy bars, and pictures, and people are always saying, oh, why don't we have shows like yours? Well, I'm so glad that you do now have our show on PureFlix, Family Affair, and I'm glad that it's so open to other shows that have, again, kind of that same moral compass, but the fun and the family and all kinds of mysteries and wonderful things that will entertain.
Well, I love it. Well, thank you so much. This has been so great having you today.
Thank you.
And for all of you, you can check out Family Affair on pureflix.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tune in next time for Pure Talk.
Here's the deal. PureFlix.com has 6,500 titles you can watch right now. That's way too many to show you in just 90 seconds, but you know what? Here we go.
I'm the man, you were the dog. I am talking to a dog.
How many times do you know the directions to your house, but you listening to the phone?